Buenas, buenas. Welcome to Music Marketing TV. I'm Kevin Ochoa, and today we're looking at TAL-MOD from TAL Software. Now, TAL-MOD is a very special synthesizer because it allows a new user to modular synthesis, easy way in to modular synthesis. What I mean by that is all the parameters are easily available to you, and all the modulation destination points are also easily accessible, and it's very decluttered. That's one thing I want to bring out. It's very decluttered. Even if you were to modulate multiple things by lots of parameters, they're always easy to edit and easy to swap out for a different type of modulation. So, without further ado, let's listen to the little demo tracks that I made, or not tracks. They're examples in this case. So I made a little loop that's basically just to show off the percussion that you can create with the modular synthesizer, and then I created a kind of dynamic changing ARP or sequence with a Pluck that I made inside TAL-MOD. Okay, so let's take a listen to them. Oh, to the whole demo, not just the individual sounds, which we'll look at in a second. So that was completely TAL-MOD besides the kick and the snare. And then this other little clip right here is the melodic sequence I made. Let's listen to the demos by themselves, or the patches by themselves. So here we have the little hi-hat. And as you can see, I rendered it to audio because I want to show you guys that you can create shuffling if you like to have on those percussion sounds. And then over here with the, where is it, the Pluck. You can hear it's very dynamic. It moves all around a lot. It comes backwards and forwards. There's distortion, and then there's clean version of it that play along. And these are actually quite easy to set up. So I'm going to show you guys how to set that up as well. Let's start off with the percussion sound because I usually tend to use noise to get pointed with the modular synthesizers. So let me show you here the TAL-MOD with the hi-hats. And what I'll do is I'll clone this, I'll cut and paste the sound and then default it. Now, the first thing you're going to hear is a really, really loud saw wave. So let's reduce the level in the oscillators here. Oscillator 1, oscillator 2, oscillator 3. Now there's no more sound. So what I'll do is I'll bring up the noise on the modulation. The volume on the noise. There we go. Now the next thing I'll do is I'll play around with the filter here. See how it sounds like. You can change it to a 12 dB per slope octave, I think. Should be that. Yeah. And then what I can do in this case, because I want to create a Pluck, not a Pluck, a hi-hat, and have it shuffle around a little. What I can do is grab a triangle LFO, or I should say a saw LFO, sequence or sync it to our host. I'm going to set it to 1/8 notes. Before we go on, I'm going to loop the pattern, the first pattern, so we can focus on that single individual sound. Right? Let's put the LFO back on there. Let's speed up the rate. Oh, I have it in trigger mode, my bad. There we go. And now we have this, hit. What I can do is drag the cutoff all the way down. And now we have a more percussive hit. Let's change the rate. Right? Now the next thing I want to do is change the phase or change the control amount to negative. See that? Now because we changed the position of the LFO and the way it commences, it's going to have a different sound. It's either going to swell in or it's going to be more percussive, as it is in this case. Right? And now we can do a couple things. Actually, let me turn off the transient processor that I have there. Hear that? It's kind of clicky without the transient processor, but once we add a transient processor, it helps the percussion come along a little bit nicer and tighter. You could also do this with a compressor if you don't have one. Okay, the next thing here that I like to do is go to our effects and get rid of some of that low end because I don't need it. Somewhere around there. And then I can EQ this. Now I can do a couple things. I can use a delay and create like a little Haas effect where the left and the right channel are slightly different. Very slightly different. There we go. So now it's nice and wide. Let's add a tiny bit of reverb. Somewhere around there. And then I can use the tonality and the delay to create depth. Or a difference between both the left and the right channel. I could also use the feedback. To change that sound a bit. So that's something we can do. We could also use a different waveform on the LFO, like a triangle, and make it start at a different phase and have it process the or modulate the filter a little bit different. See that we have this, shaker type of sound now. We could also grab the noise modulation and have it modulate the cutoff right here. And now what I can do is I can go over to my mod envelope, which is very unique to this modular synthesizer. And I could come around here and start modulating and creating some weird changes. Let's set this to 2 bars. And let's modulate the filter cutoff. So you hear that, how it changes throughout the sequence. We could also make this very, very clear if we set these all up high, right? And then we set these all low. So what you could even do is, have one go up and down. Through a certain phases of the sequence. There we go. Let's play back. So you can create variations. So that's pretty cool. You can even use it like an extra LFO if you want to speed things up. Let's put it on the resonance. And now we created a little percussion sound that has a lot of movement. Again, we could try this out with the saw wave. Let's put the phase back to 0. And there we go. We have a percussive modulated sound. So it's pretty cool. Let's hop over to the other pattern here with the this pluck that's arpeggiated, but it has this movement where it's coming forward and backwards in the mix and has distortion. It's pretty cool. Let's play back the TAL-MOD. You can hear here how I made no changes to the sound. So this is coming raw out of TAL-MOD, no extra processing. I have a little bit of chorus, some delay, again to create some movement. And some extra melodic information. And finally, we have a reverb. Okay, so if we go to the mod envelope, we see it's clear. But if we go to the sequencer, you see here that it's actually turned on. The way the sequencer works is we have a pause button right here. And this is even more apparent when we turn off the delay. See that? It's quite easy to get used to. We also have here the pitch or the semitone information. So if I were to change a few of these around, that also works. I could even use this as a modulation source. So if I wanted to have this boost the oh, sorry, that's the mod envelope. Whoops, I messed up right there. I removed the resonance parameter that was, or the modulation that was modulating the resonance, and I just completely forgot it. So it's fine. We won't, break our head over it. It's probably something very, very simple, but we still have pretty much the same sound. I think it was the velocity. Let me double check. Yeah, something like that. That sounds pretty spot on. All right, so as you can hear there's a velocity source, and that can either be played in with the keyboard or it could be created with the sequencer. So if I push up the velocity on these last couple of hits and then bring these down over here, it'll be very, very apparent what is going on here. Not only are we making the sequence hits louder individually, we're also affecting anything that's using the velocity as a modulation source. So in this case, the resonance, we're also using it on the, I believe, the cutoff velocity right there. So we can use this on many different parameters and modulate them. So we have that. By the way, I forgot to mention how to turn on the sequencer. So we have the sequencer there. We can also have an ARP on if we like. As I was saying, there's the tempo and the shuffle right here. You can choose your tempo syncing information right there. So it's easy to create sequences. Not only that, but we also have the delete by step, copy step, paste step, so we can have tools that help us around. There's also a random pattern generator, so that helps you also get some inspiration going. All right, let's hop over to the actual synthesis part of this. So let's remove some of these parameters here. We already spoke about the velocity. Let's remove it. See how much depth the instrument loses without having that velocity on. So I suggest you guys play around with it, see what it sounds like for you guys. There's also velocity affecting the volume or the oscillator from right there. There's the ADSR that's playing back on this little Pluck right here. Let me show you this. So there's actually two oscillators playing here. There's the square one. And then there's a square that's being pulse width modulated by, not pulse width modulated, but it's a pulse width, and it's being controlled by the ADSR2, and that's creating this little plucky hit, right? And we also have this the same ADSR. It's affecting the frequency on the Pluck here, or on the square waveform. That's just the main one. You see, when I play around with the decay, it changes, and it basically kind of sounds like a 303 if you are playing around with the pitch. But there we go. We're using it to create a pluckier, harder hitting sound. It's subtle, but it's very important because you still want to have this pluck hit through the mix. The next thing we have over here is we have a LFO1 on the filter cutoff, and that's changing this slowly throughout time. It's doing it every 2 bars. We also have a modulation that's going from the LFO1 into the rate of LFO2. What's also affecting here quite a bit is, let's see, where is it? Here we go. It's the noise color modulating the second filter cutoff. Let's check this out. See that? And as we said previously, the velocity affects the dynamic and also some modulation destinations. So in my case, I'm using the velocity to modulate the volume of the noise. So now I can make that noise modulate the cutoff more rapidly or more subtly. So we can use that to create some depth, some notes that hit a little bit harder and some that hit a little bit softer. So that's a really, really cool thing to do. And yeah, that's basically the preset in a nutshell. I don't think there's much else to cover here. But yeah, that's how you can create a little pluck sound that's, it has a frequency filter, or the frequency that's being modulated by an ADSR, which is not the amp ADSR. And then we have 2 filters that are being modulated, one by the LFO, so it's moving along throughout the track. And then we have a second LFO that's being modulated by the noise, which is in turn being modulated by the velocity, which is something we set up in the sequencer, and we set it up to our taste, right? So I hope this video helped you out in learning TAL-MOD. Like I said, it's one of these synths that is very user-friendly when you start. It's not like a wall of knobs and a wall of cables that's just there. You can click on the parameters, change them out, send them negatively or positively. So this is even more advanced in certain cases than a actual analog modular system, but with the ease of use of presets and also that user experience that's a lot easier to experience when you have software. So recallability, tweaking things around, not having to purchase a ton of inverters and different modules to create certain sounds. For example, right here with just changing this parameter to be negative or positive, you might have to buy a different module in the analog world to get that feature, which is such a simple thing that we just did very quickly with TAL-MOD. So if you haven't tried out a modular synthesizer, I highly recommend this because it's going to get you your fix. All right, that's going to be it for this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. If you learned something new today, please like the video. Also, subscribe to the channel so you guys stay up to date with our future videos. And we have one more coming up for this series on TAL software. We have the TAL Baseline 101 that we're covering on the next video. So stay tuned for that. Once again, I'm Kevin Ochoa with Music Marketing TV, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.